Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. These are gonna be my worst books of 2020. Don't hate me. I'm really actually scared to make this video because a few weeks ago I was gonna make a video of like unpopular opinions about books because I seem to dislike a lot of popular books, but then I just decided to wait and just like make my worst books of 2020 video, which is basically the same thing. So I'm really nervous. These are my opinions, please don't hate me. I'm very particular about my genre of book. I like sticking to my genres that I know I like, and when I venture out, I don't like them. Who would have thought? So I have 8 books. I kind of went by like ratings. I gave one of them 1 star and then all the others are 2 stars. I guess I'll just get started. I'm really scared, but here we go. So a lot of them tend to be book of the month books because they have genres that like I usually don't read, so I pick those sometimes and then I hate them. So anyways, my 1 star book of the year, no surprise, I've talked about this book so much, I feel so bad. It's Topics of Conversation by Miranda Popke. This basically follows our unnamed main character in like first person who she thinks about all of the past conversations that she's had in her life, I guess, with like other women. And most of them are just like boring or like made me really uncomfortable because they're really inappropriate, or just I was just not a fan. Like sometimes the punctuation was off, there were no like periods or new paragraphs. It was just trying too hard to be a cool book, in my opinion, which a lot of people dislike this book, which is really sad. It's really short. It's her debut novel. A lot of these on my list are debut novels, which I feel really, really not good about because it's the worst. I don't want to make this video, but here we are. Anyways, but I love the cover. So that's why I'm gonna keep this book forever, because I love how it looks on my bookshelf. So this one wasn't that unpopular of an opinion, I don't think. I think a lot of people dislike this book, but I feel like all the other ones people love. So here we go. Pray for me. This is Radio Shangri-La, What I Discovered on My Accidental Journey to the Happiest Kingdom on Earth by Lisa Napoli. I gave this one 2 stars. Originally I gave it 3. There are parts of it that I loved. So we follow her journey, obviously, in the Himalayas. Bhutan, I think it's Bhutan. And she learns some great lessons along the way, like how to slow down, and I loved those parts of it where she kind of reflected. But I found it just kind of boring and very not memorable for me. Like there was so much potential there. I was so excited to read this book, but it just kind of like dragged on, and I ended up just like not wanting to ever pick it up. It took me so long to read this little tiny book because I just could not get into it. It made me really sad because I really had high hopes, but it just wasn't that great. So 2 stars, sorry. The next one's really random. It's The Scent Keeper by Erica Bauermeister. I gave all of them 2 stars. I'm gonna stop saying it. This one I randomly picked up at my used bookstore and I hadn't heard anything about it, but honestly the cover was so beautiful. I was like, okay, this is a very strange book. We follow our main character who is, I don't know names, Emmeline. And she lives in this secluded little island with her dad, and he is all about like making scents and putting them in bottles. And then you open the scents and then, or open the bottles and then the scents just like flow out and you're brought to like different times, which is a really cool concept. I was like, that sounds dope, so I got it. And it's all magical. She's never met anyone else in her whole life or seen anyone. And then one day she sees someone on a boat and she's like, what? Like other people exist? And so that's all I'm gonna talk about the plot. I don't want to spoil anything if you do decide to read this. That sounds interesting to you. It just started taking really weird turns. It just started becoming like 5 different books in one. It was so odd. The settings kept changing, which is fine, but like, and then magic wasn't a thing for the rest of the book. It was just very scattered, I felt, and just felt like I was reading like 18 different books at once, and it was really hard to kind of keep track of where I was. It just wasn't as magical as I thought it would be. But look at the cover. That's why I'm keeping it. These next 2 books are both debut novels, and I got them both from Book of the Month, and they're both probably really unpopular opinions. This is where all the hate's gonna start coming in. Let's start with The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. We open up on the scene of Vivek's body on his mother's doorstep, dead. That's like the opening thing. And then we go through the rest of the book, kind of going through his life and how he got there. It talks a lot about his cousin, and I felt very uncomfortable with their relationship. If you've read this, you know what I'm talking about. And that's mainly why I disliked it, is because of how uncomfortable it made me feel, which I'm sure was purpose of the book, but I just felt not okay. And also I feel like it didn't really, like, I feel like sometimes the cousin was the main character. It felt like I didn't learn enough about Vivek. Also, this takes place in Nigeria, and I want to say things, but I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to. But I just felt like we didn't focus enough on Vivek's inner thoughts and like what he was going through, because he was going through a lot, and we just focused on like the outward stuff that like other people would have seen, and so we didn't get like into his mind and like his feelings and stuff. And so it was just an odd book for me. I think it had really good representation, but I don't know, I got like weird vibes from this book, so I'm really sorry if you liked it. Amazing if you liked it, just not really for me. So that's all I'm gonna say about this one. Kind of the same feelings about A Burning by Megha Majumdar. Another debut novel. This takes place in India, which is really cool. There are parts of this book that I loved. We follow our main character, Jivan, who lives in the slums, and she's accused of this like bombing of a train, and so it gets very political. And then we also follow, I think it's like 2 other characters that are kind of in her life, but we follow their stories a lot. Like, they are huge parts of the book, which felt just really disconnected for me and like disjointed. And their stories obviously all do intertwine because they all know each other, but it just felt like, what's the purpose of talking about? I don't know. I wish, again, it would have focused more on the main character. Maybe that's like a thing that I have, that I like to just focus on the main character to most of the book, but I mean, sometimes I like side stories. I don't know. It just felt very disjointed and very political at times, and it just wasn't for me, and I'm really sorry. Because I know, you know, some people love this book, so I do love the different like settings that these books had. Like, I love learning about India, I love learning about life in Nigeria. I think they're really eye-opening in that sense, and I like broadening my horizon of what I'm reading, you know? These stories just weren't really for me, but I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trucking forward. So these last 3 are very popular books. Okay. My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. I've talked about this book a lot, so I'm not gonna talk about it much more, but made me depressed. I hated reading this book. We follow our main character who is not okay mentally, and we basically follow her through this year of just like taking pills and drinking and doing drugs and like trying to just like be unconscious this whole year. She is a very unlikable character, which is kind of the point of the book I've read, and like part of the point of her characters is to not be likable, and some people love that about her novels, so more power to you. But she was so mean to the people that were trying to help her. She was just a mess, and it like made me feel gross and like not okay reading about her life. It just was like shocking. So I really did not like this. It was nothing like I thought it would be. I thought it'd be like a cute little like, let's meditate and like walk through meadows for a year. Quite the opposite. So did not like this at all. I'll probably be unhauling this at some point because the cover's not, I mean, the cover's fine, but it's nothing to keep it for, so I'm sorry. I disliked this one a lot. These next 2, okay, so in 2020 I tried to like venture out and read some sci-fi. Turns out I don't like it. Who would have thought? Oh, Recursion by Blake Crouch. I gave this one 3 stars originally, and then the more I thought about it, it was very unmemorable for me. I can't even tell you what this book is about. It was just a whirlwind. It's about like time travel, and like, honestly, I don't really remember what this is about. If I'm to be honest, I'm really sorry. It's kind of coming back to me. It just has a lot to do with like the mind and time and different lives. And it was just a lot. It was too much. My mind was overloaded with information that I could not handle. Am I shallow? Am I not very smart? Probably, but this was too much for me. The ending, it was okay up until the ending, and then the ending was just going like a million miles per hour. I was like, this is too much. I don't know how I finished this book. It's a blur. Reading this was a blur, so I'm really sorry. I know people love it. It has really good ratings. It just wasn't for me, as well as all these other books are not for me. So last book I'm going to talk about An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. This follows our main character who goes out one night in New York City with her friend and they see this mysterious metal creation and they decide to post a video of it on YouTube, and then overnight they get a lot of views and a lot of fame because all of these buildings popped up overnight, like in all these big cities over the world, and she starts being like attacked, and it was weird. That's all I gotta say. It was weird. I was not interested at all. It's a lot about like technology, which I don't really like reading about because I feel like my life is already overthrown by technology. I don't need to read about it happening to someone else, and it's just something I'm not really interested in. But I'm glad I read it and figured that out so that I don't pick up other books like it. But I mean, I think it was like a really cool and unique and interesting story, and I can see why people love it because it is like really cool, you know? But at the same time, it's just, say it with me, it wasn't for me. So y'all, those are the 8 books that I didn't like in 2020. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you don't hate me. I hope you don't unsubscribe and dislike and hate me forever. I'm really sorry. I'm sure there's books that I love that you hate, and that's okay. We can all live on this earth together. What am I even saying? I don't know. I've been filming all day, so I'm very delirious, but those are the books that I didn't like. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below. I would love to know you guys' thoughts on these books if you've read them, because I know a lot of people have read them, and I like hearing other people's opinions. So let me know down below, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!